6 games down, 11 more to go for the Dallas Cowboys as we head into Week 7 of the NFL season, which means it's Week 7 of Special Edition in the regular season. Here from the Star in Frisco alongside Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, and Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. And fortunately for the Cowboys, it's a Week 7 that sees a losing streak for the first time since the opening week of the regular season. The Cowboys fall on the road to the Philadelphia Eagles, 26-17, the final score in Week 6 on Sunday Night Football. It was the first loss in the Cooper Rush starting era. He had been 5-0 prior to this, including 4 wins this season, and things didn't go right for him in Philadelphia. But Isaiah, I'll start with you on this one. Where did things go wrong for the Cowboys in their loss to Philly?
I think they just faced a better team, honestly. I think that the Philadelphia Eagles were simply just better team at this point in time in the season. You think about their offense, you think about their defense, their special teams. Holistically, they just had a better approach to the game. Dallas went out there and tried to do the same things they had been doing prior to, but they came up against a team that can handle them defensively. You came across a team that can handle them offensively in terms of getting up ahead of them early and really made them play from behind and push Cooper Rush and his offense out of the comfort zone.
Yeah, to me, it came down to the turnovers. You know, at the end of the day, he had 3 turnovers, and previous to that, he had 0 turnovers. He took care of the ball. But there's nothing that Cooper Rush needs to hang his head about, because if you told me after week 1 that Dak would be gone from this Cowboys team for 5 weeks and they would still have a chance to make the playoffs, I would have thought you were crazy. But here we are. Cowboys are 4-2, and I think Cooper Rush did an amazing job playing his role in getting the Cowboys to where they are right now.
There's not much more I can add to that. Perfect analysis. I mean, we faced a better team, a more complete team, a team that played with more intensity, and it paid off for the Eagles this time.
And you're right, Barry. Cooper Rush did exactly what you needed to. Came in, won 4 straight games. He won 4 of his 5 starts this season, but this wasn't his best outing, Isaiah, because you look at the stat line, it just wasn't there for him. First time all season, he had thrown an interception, and he compounded that with 3 total in the ball game. What went wrong for Cooper Rush this week?
They made him play outside of himself. Cooper Rush is a game manager. He's not a game winner. And that's no disrespect to him, but they've asked him to come in here and simply fill in. They didn't ask him to come in here and start winning doggone ball games from week to week. So as soon as he was forced to do so, you saw a little bit of what showed up against the Washington Commanders when those interceptions got called back. Unfortunately, these did not.
Yeah, we saw a lot of game time decisions that, previous games, he worked out through it. Those Washington games, like you mentioned, those interceptions, they went Cowboys' way. This time it didn't. And it ain't all on Cooper Rush, because if we see those interceptions, there's not a lot of separation from the DBs. I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles did a great job of locking down our receivers out there. But over time, it ended up catching up to Cooper Rush. Now it's time for number 4 to get back in the saddle.
Ooh, and you bring up a great transition, because it was Cooper Rush time, but now Dak Prescott back in the fold.
I mean, I don't necessarily get that frustrated over that. I can't control this. Obviously, something was healing. I had plans. Bone obviously didn't have the same plan, so as you said, that got pushed back. But that was just me being eager. There was nothing different than what Doc's plans, the trainer's plans. As I said, the plan now is just to go next week, and let's see if I can do that.
So that was Dak Prescott following the loss to Philadelphia. Says he is back in the fold. He's been medically cleared, and he's been working out throughout the last couple weeks. Nate, how big is it to have Dak Prescott back behind center?
It's a boost for your offense. It's a bigger boost for your defense, because they can be a little bit more efficient. He can move around in the pocket a little bit better, and he can make some of them throws to the outside. So I think that's a big boost for this team.
Yeah, look, I love Dak Prescott being back out there, and I hope this offense doesn't change much at all, because I think they have a legit formula. Lean on your strengths, which is the defense and the ground game, and take care of the football. Like, it might not be flashy, you might not score a lot of points, you might not have a lot of offensive Pro Bowlers out there, but at the end of the day, you're going to win games, and that's all that should matter.
I'm looking forward to seeing more than 2-man route combinations. They've been doing their best to try to protect Cooper Rush and prevent him from doing what you saw last week, which is, having pressure and throwing the ball up for some possible interceptions. Now you actually get your 3, 4, 5-man route combinations out there, simply because if Dak is pressured, he knows where to go with the hot routes. This offense is simply going to be opened up more.
Of course, the Cowboys losing that matchup against Philadelphia without Dak Prescott, but with Dak in the fold, they've got a matchup this week as they turn the page to Week 7 and the Detroit Lions coming to AT&T Stadium. The Cowboys are back at home. They're back with QB1, but how can the Cowboys slow down a legitimate Lions attack? One of the top offenses statistically. Are they real when we come back?
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. Reliant, an NRG company. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Salvation Army. Love Beyond.
I mean, this is a prime example of what an uncommon opponent looks like. So, and then you put up the numbers. You know, this is an offense that's had an extremely productive season so far. And if you look at, you know, their players and, you know, offensive line, the running backs, the perimeter, the quarterback. So this is an extremely, you know, challenging offense for us.
Weapons on all three levels and an offensive line that's playing well, as Jared Goff has only been sacked a handful of times this season. And, well, the Lions are an uncommon opponent. And as Mike McCarthy just said, they're brought to you by Reliant. They're uncommon in the fact that they haven't been winning games. They're only 1-4 on the season, but they still bring a lot of weapons, and it starts with Jared Goff. How has his season gone on, and how is he going to challenge this Cowboys team? You
know, there's a lot of similarities between the Detroit Lions offense and the Dallas Cowboys offense when they have Dak Prescott behind center. And that's because they go off of the run. When the running game is going, when you have Williams running the ball, when you have Swift running the ball, then they're able to have the play-action game. They run exactly the same type of offense that Dallas likes to run when they are effective on offense.
Yeah, Jared Goff is playing good football so far this season. I think he has 11 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. He's averaging a little bit over 270 passing yards per game. But to me, I don't think he's gone against a front seven like the Dallas Cowboys. And even though that offensive line has been playing great, they only gave up 7 sacks like Kyle said, I think they'll be able to put pressure on this guy and make things hard for him, especially if we're able to make this team one-dimensional and Detroit has to rely on Goff's arm. I think the Cowboys have a big day defensively.
They do have to rely on Goff's arm, but this offensive line, like you say, is nice. It's the second best offensive line we've played. I think the guards and centers are playing well. And if they can run up in the middle of our deal, that'll get a play-action pass big for Goff. So we got to make sure we seal down that run.
Well, let's talk about the run game because DeAndre Swift make his return this week. Then they've got Williams in the backfield as well. It's a 1-2 punch that, of course, the Lions and a lot of NFL teams have been going with. Why is theirs different?
Because they come downhill. They try to punish you. They're a physical offensive line. And teams that face us with a good guard center combination, that always hurts us because if you can run in the middle of a defense, that gives the outside a greater chance of being successful.
This is a nice two-headed monster. You mentioned that these guys come downhill, but they both have the explosive power that Tony Pollard possessed, right? It's kind of like when Zeke was fresh, you know, young Zeke, right? When these guys both can kind of make you pay. Both of these guys come downhill, but they have that powerful one cut, and then they want to punish you. They don't want to run out of bounds. They want to run through your chest cavity, and these guys both collectively have near 600 yards together on the ground this year. They're dangerous.
They've got some power on the outside as well. I mean, their pass catchers are big, physical pass catchers as well. Barry, I know you've gone up against some guys like this in the past, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, T.J. Hawkinson, I mean, who is the biggest threat on their passing game and out in the edge because they've got some size there?
Well, look, both of these pass catchers, they're legit, but to me, I got to go with Hawkinson. I think he's the bigger threat out here. We're looking at a big tight end, big body guy, 6'5". You know he's a red zone threat, and he's 12th in the National Football League right now with 3 touchdowns. If you decide to walk a linebacker down on him, he has the speed to run around him. You put a smaller guy, maybe a corner, a safety, or nickel on him, he'll use his size like a big center in basketball and go get the rebound over top of these guys. So to me, this defense has got to know where 88 is at all times because he is a mismatch nightmare.
Keep them out the red zone, Barry.
Yeah, you got to.
These guys out the red zone, you're perfectly fine because Hawkinson can make you pay with your one-on-one matchups versus the safeties, even though Dallas has some really good safeties. Hooker, Kurse, those guys can play defense and one-on-one against tight ends. They've done a great job to date against some of the best tight ends in the league. But also you talk about St. Brown and his size out there against our Browns and guys of that nature. He has that height advantage. You don't want to see these guys having jump balls down there.
Now flipping to the defensive side of things, this defense has not had a whole lot of success. PFF has them ranked as the number 32 graded team in unit on the defensive side all year long, but they've got some young pieces, Nate, that you have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, you do. I would really like to say something nice about them, but all they got is Brockers. And I'm just being honest. They got the young pieces that they've drafted, and they're a pretty good team, but they don't have it right now.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Haven't played well, Barry.
Yeah. Defensively, look, Dak picked a great game to come back because this defense is downright terrible. All right, they're giving up 5.5 yards per rush out there. Against the pass, they're giving up 7.7 yards an attempt. I mean, this defense is kind of like Burger King. You can have it your way. All right, and I think Dak Prescott and this Cowboys offense should take full advantage of this lackluster Detroit defense.
No, Barry Church, I mean, you know how this goes. We're a Whataburger company here at the Cowboys. We can't talk about that other.
Whataburger, I'm sorry.
Still have it your way. One of the things that Detroit does well defensively, though, is they will bring the blitz. That Cowboys offensive line is going to have to stand up. Can Zach Martin and company stand up against the Detroit blitz when we come back with more Special Edition?
This segment was brought to you by Salvation Army. Love Beyond. This segment is brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas.
Back here on Special Edition from the Star in Frisco, Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Let's take a deep dive into the film this week. The Cowboys trying to get back on track against the Detroit Lions at AT&T Stadium, and they'll get Dak Prescott back in order to do so. It's great to see number 4 back behind center, and one of the things he's done well throughout his career is throw against the blitz and handle blitzes from opposing defenses. Detroit is going to try and heat up Dallas in that regard, and they're going to do it in a couple different ways. What's some of the ways that they're going to try and get after Dak Prescott?
I'm going to show you guys a couple options. And one of the guys, the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, is a gentleman by the name of Aaron Glenn. Well, that was my former teammate here with the Dallas Cowboys. And you can better believe that when he comes back into AT&T Stadium, he's going to want to try to heat things up, especially against a quarterback who has been sitting out for the last 5 games, regardless of what he did before that. So Dallas Cowboys, have your antennas on a high because these guys are going to be coming after you. So right here, I want you guys to see how many linemen that we have for the Philadelphia Eagles. 1, 2, 3 linemen on the right side. Why is that important? Well, it's important because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders for the Detroit Lions that are going to be heating you up. Now, I want you to have your antennas up. Right here, as soon as you guys see this defensive back, this nickel back with his eyes in the backfield, why are you looking at me as the quarterback when you have a man that you're supposed to be defending? If this man releases right now, there is literally nobody that has him in coverage. So why are your eyes back there? Well, probably because you're trying to come get me. So Dak Prescott, have your hand on a swivel because you can please believe that these guys are going to try to come get this edge by overloading this side of the offensive line. Let's see it play out. Right here, you see the ball snap right there. Boom, go ahead and pause it. You see the 3 offensive linemen right here creating a wall. But what you don't see is this nickelback trying to get the edge and this other safety trying to run a stunt just in case Jalen Hurts tries to step up. They go ahead and rush him out the pocket, play it all the way through, causing him a little issues because that side of the offensive line was overloaded. So have your head on a swivel and have your antennas up because they're going to try to overwhelm and overload that side. Let's take a peek at it again. Perfect. Right here, you guys see the 3 linemen, 1, 2, and 3. And what you guys need to see right here is 1, 2, 3, and there's actually a 4 right out here. There's simply just bad numbers for the offensive line. Even though this safety is way out of here, out the way, it doesn't matter. They don't care. They'll take that risk all day long to try to create pressure on our Dak Prescott. Keep your eyes downfield, step up in the pocket, deliver a ball. We'll show you exactly how to do that here.
Yeah, so really it turns into a numbers game. You're taking things and you're looking at it at the line of scrimmage. That's what Dak Prescott does well. Jalen Hurts really does it well, too. And they were able to beat the Lions on a couple of occasions. How do they do it?
Well, they did a great job because obviously with their RPO, they have a lot of different options. But one of the ways in which you can win is if you have your guys that can win one-on-one. Who do they have that can win one-on-one? Well, we ran into him last week. His name is A.J. Brown, and he does a great job of getting off the ball here. And what you're going to see from the Detroit Lions is a different blitz. So now they're not coming off the edge right here. Why? Because we just saw that they were exposed. If you have man-to-man coverage right here and you have this nickel back that tries to come off the edge, well, you're leaving a void. And you don't want to have a void here because now you're expecting this safety to come all the way down. It's not really going to happen that well. So what do they try to do? They try to go double A gap this time. So you're going to have these linebackers that are going to step up. But when those linebackers step up, where is the void in the defense? This guy wants to come up. He wants to work his way down here. There's going to be a huge hole right here. So let's go ahead and take a peek at it. The ball snap. Go ahead, pause it right there, right off the back. You guys see this safety worked his way down here. He's sitting in this hole now, okay? You have man-to-man coverage on the outside, man-to-man, man-to-man. Now you have the guy that most likely is going to be spying Jalen Hurts, okay? I don't think we're going to have to worry about that. But what do you need to happen when you have this double A-gap blitz where these guys are now coming to the middle of your formation? You need your receivers on the outside to win on their release. So if we can run it back to the beginning of this play, I want you guys to see how A.J. Brown does a good job of working him upfield, crossing his face, and taking advantage of this void that's in the middle once they go double A-gap blitz. Boom, he stems them outside. Boom, cross his face. That could be CeeDee Lamb. That could be Michael Gallup. That could be Noah Brown. Either way, we want the result to be the same. Catch the ball, get some yak yardage. Let's move these chains and make them pay. Aaron Glenn, anytime that you want to try to heat up Dak Prescott, put some respect on his name. He's been out for 5 games, but he's still that man.
Hey, a lot of Cowboys Nation wants to see CeeDee Lamb and Kevontae Turpin and Michael Gallup underneath defenses to try and get that yards after the catch. And you know this defensive coordinator well. You played with him before. You've got his number, and you can see it here on the film on Special Edition. But when we come back, who's got the number of the matchups? We'll get Barry Church and Nate Newton back in the fold. What matchups should you keep your eye on for Cowboys and Lions coming up this week?
This segment was brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas.
It's an opportunity for us to clean our run game up from this last game and take it into this game and test that. So I'm looking forward to that extremely. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to up our performance in that area. And obviously when you got an offense that likes to run the ball like that, it's a great week for prep.
Leighton Vander Esch certainly keeping his eyes forward to the Detroit Lions in their run game because they bring a challenge much like Philadelphia did, and he may be one of the matchups to watch here on Special Edition. Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. In this segment, we give you the matchups to watch coming up on Sunday, noon kickoff at AT&T Stadium. When we get real in-depth in this segment, we go deep dive into what the fans should watch. Nate, who you got on your matchup to watch this week?
Watch our offense versus their defense. They're giving up they're giving up over 400 yards of total offense. They're giving up 160 yards rushing. And more importantly, they're giving up over 30 points a game. Watch our offense.
There's the specifics we were looking for.
That's exactly what I'm looking for. Specifically, I'm going to the offense as well, but I'm going to the tight end position. Detroit Lions have a young Thundercat in the tight end position named Hawkinson. This guy right here is a threat when he has the ball in his hands. So, Curse, you got your hands full with you, young man, this time around. On the flip side, is it going to be Dalton Schultz, Ferguson, Hendershot? We don't know who it's going to be. I don't think it matters. Either way, Dak is back. That means play action's back. Who's going to make a big play?
Yeah, and for me, I'm going to go on the defensive side of the football. You just heard one of our guys over there, Vander Esch. I'm going to need him, whoever else is on the second level, Barr, Parsons as well, to step up against the Detroit Lions rushing attack led by DeAndre Swift. This is a dynamic running back. When you talk about the run and the pass, he can put you in the blender in both. So I need these linebackers to step up and hold him to a minimum if we want to stop this Detroit Lions offense.
You went from a Philadelphia team in Week 6 that was RPO heavy. They make you make decisions. This one in Detroit, they just run downhill and they make you make tackles. That's what's going to be a big thing moving forward. So I like that matchup a lot. When we come back here on Special Edition, we'll wrap things up and give you our keys to the game. Is Dak Prescott being back behind center the key for the Cowboys, or is there more to look for when we come back after this?
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by Ford F-Series, the best-selling truck in Texas. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowboys looking to improve to 5-2 on the regular season. They'll do so behind Dak Prescott back at quarterback and against the Detroit Lions on Sunday. Wrapping things up here in Special Edition Week 7, and now we've got an opportunity to take a look at our keys to the game. Barry, I'll start with you. How do the Cowboys get a win on Sunday?
Well, they have to keep the ball out of harm's way. All right, I know we got Dak back, and, Kellen Moore, he's going to want to open that playbook up. You got your new fancy toy back. Let's get it going. Keep the ball out of harm's way. That's the only way Detroit's going to be able to keep up with this game. You got it, though, Dak. You got it.
Well, since Dak's back, I'm going to go ahead and say we need to get ahead and stay ahead. Don't force Dak to start trying to throw the ball 40-plus times in his first game back. Make it easy on him. Run the ball, score some points, and don't do what we did last week.
And time of possession has to be the key. If we can have 32 or more plus minutes on time possession, that'll fall in the hands of what we need to do.
Got to stay ahead, stay consistent, and really all three of these things without you giving an actual key. It sounds like you got to run the football because that can lead to all three of those things as well. Now, Nate, you always give a prediction. It was a little bit off last week. You said Cowboys by 1. Are you going to change things up this week?
No, we got to keep it close, but, we got to dominate that time possession, and that leads to a 1-point win.
Cowboys get the dub, according to Nate Newton. For Barry Church, Isaiah Stanback, and Nate, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. We'll see you next week with more Special Edition.